This is Making Sense of Life and Reality. Welcome back to Making Sense of Life and Reality. We talk a lot on this show about making sense of things, but usually that implies life is a puzzle with a single solution. Today's guest suggests it's more than the weights you carry and the stories you tell. Joining me is Ali. By day, he's navigating the high stakes communications landscape at KSL. By 5 a.m., he's likely in the gym pushing his physical limits, and in between, he's a sought after strategist, helping creators find their voice in the podcasting world. He's a man who stands firmly for justice, both in the books and in the streets. Ali, it is a pleasure to have you to the podcast today to help us make sense of life and reality.
Thank you so much, Michael. I was really looking forward to this, and I'm glad we finally got the opportunity to sit down.
For sure. And it was so crazy that even as fast as we hit it, the introduction, and I've been told of your experience in the podcasting world, and then you spice it up. You're like, oh, you also have a working environment in the law environment, and I'm just like, wow, that's just such an interesting combination. And then later on, you still add that you're also a fitness enthusiast. As you can see, keeping fit is no for it is hard.
It is, but
Oh my gosh, to cover anything, how many reps if you can actually imagine how many reps you've done just to be able to lose the weight that you wanted to gain the whatever you've gained.
the thing is, mine is a reverse journey.
Oh,
Most
okay.
of the people that are highlighted in the fitness world start from weight and then they want to lose it. Mine is different because I started when I was small and then I was trying to grow big. My metabolism is too fast to just live a normal life. So if I just eat, I grow skinny. If you
Okay.
just feed me and I grow skinny. So the only way to gain meaningful weight is to get muscle. So that's why I went to the gym.
And what do you think is the from your experience of that? I believe muscles are such a you need to do this way more
Mm-hmm.
or just contract, expand to gain muscle. So I can now imagine that you're now feeding, just by feeding, you won't gain weight, or you won't gain mass. So how did you come to make sense of that? You're like, hey man, I'm small, so with this, now we're moving towards.
It started maybe like 3 years ago. I went for health check and they say you're actually underweight for your height. Your ratios don't make sense, and your body fat is also too little. You consider gaining a few, just in case. Like okay, bet. How can we do that? How are you eating? I explained my diet. Like okay, maybe think the gym. Like okay, fine. We'll go to the gym. So um, start lifting and then lift. I'm like okay, I'm losing a bit of my mobility. I'm losing my capacity to move as fast as I thought I could. So let's combine that with running. So been doing lifting and running consistently for maybe now 2.5 years thereabout, and feels good.
Amazing. What mindset do you have right now that you didn't have before then? And especially, and also the early stages where no progress. When you start and you think, and you see no progress. So, what are your thoughts that time and your thoughts now, 2 years later?
I think I've learned to look at things with a slightly broader timeline.
Awesome.
So I'm beginning to appreciate the fact that you will not see progress daily or weekly with many things that you do in life.
Yeah.
But then once you expand that to 6 months, 1 year, then you can see the compound interest that you've been accumulating from your efforts.
That is
So
interesting.
if you're at the gym, uh, week 1, week 2, month 1, you might feel different. I don't think you will look differently depending on what you're trying to achieve, or rather at least that was my experience, because I also understand that people are on different journeys and some people might see results in ways that I didn't see.
Awesome.
But for me, I didn't see a lot of results on my early days, and then you blow it up 6 months. You're like, okay, 1 year, okay, 2 years. You know what? It's overt. Everyone knows what you do after work. It's clear.
That is good. That is good. And I usually, in making sense of life and reality, actually the timelines. When at times you think something will happen much faster, or much slower, and then you come and find life has its own dynamics. Other times there are different people who have done things faster, and you've appreciated, oh, your results came in faster than mine. Interesting,
Right.
And yeah, so just the dynamism of whatever works for me well might work for you well too, but because of some one, two different things just work faster or slower.
That's the thing. Life is bespoke. We could put the same amount of efforts and still arrive at different results simply because we have different context. And it's one of those things that you learn later in life. We can show up every day at the gym, do the same weights, and our results might differ. Because I started somewhere you didn't start, or you started somewhere I didn't start. Or maybe our lives outside of that context differ, which then affects this. And it's true with almost anything.
For sure, for sure. And I think even with making sense of life and reality is also just to reduce the stress, to reduce the uncertainty, to reduce the bad energy around by me making sense of it works like this. So definitely after that you really calmer going through the same situation, and with more focus or with more
Understanding.
awareness and understanding.
True.
Now comes the part where, and especially now like for muscles, how much work goes into it that you actually even appreciate seeing a person bigger than you. Even if you see somebody smaller than you, but you can see they look like they've done activity, but they're not as big. But again, you're like, keep doing whatever you're doing.
Absolutely. And let me tell you something. The person who challenged me the most, there's this guy I met, and he looks the part.
Yeah.
Like, bro, kwani unatumia nini? What other things are you eating that we're not? He's like, no, I'm on a normal diet. And they're like, okay, how long have you been in the fitness space? And they say 13 years.
Oh.
You have spent almost an equal of my lifetime building your body. You have to respect that level of consistency and that level of discipline. 13 years on any journey is crazy.
Yeah, you have to give respect to
Absolutely. Like, you know what? You look the way you look, and people might say whatever they say, but the fact that you've been willing to show up consistently for a decade plus, and this is a hobby, you're not a bodybuilder, you're not paid for this. You pay to do this, and you've been doing that for this number of years. I respect that.
For sure. Oh, that's amazing. Wow, so you spend your working hours at this Kenya School of Law, the gateway for every lawyer in this country. You've seen the machinery of justice up close in a world that often feels chaotic and unfair. How do you personally maintain the belief that justice is a reality we can actually achieve rather than just a legal concept we teach? And on that, I will hit it even with the the communication side that you're in. So even because definitely for you to communicate, you have to understand
Absolutely
of the message and for how the message will be sent widely and efficiently and effectively to communicate what you're communicating. So what's your view, and especially you not being a lawyer, to this is how the legal system is in Kenya?
So a bit of context.
Yeah.
I head marketing at the Kenya School of Law. So it's a mix of business development, stakeholder management, partnership building, and yes, communications. And my interaction with justice is on its early days, where I interact with students on their journey towards obtaining legal education, and then take their bar exams, and then they get admitted to the bar, and then they start their practice or legal career. However, my employer, the Kenya School of Law, has worked with other organizations like development partners like the UNDP in furthering access to justice. And in programs like those, I have led communication. So, for example, one of the projects that we just wrapped up is a project under UNDP where we were building a national code of conduct for paralegals, community paralegals specifically. And a lot of this work involved going to communities, especially in Uasin Gishu, going to prisons here and there to understand the challenges that underrepresented people have and see whether paralegals can fill that gap. And two things I observed during that work were that the biggest impediments to justice, in my opinion, is A, access to information, B, access to resources. So there are some people that do not know that this is their right or this is their recourse. And then there are some people who are aware that this is my right and this is my recourse, but they do not have the means to talk to, say, a professional. They do not have the money to actually go sit down with an advocate and tell them A, B, C happened and how should I navigate this. Even with that, I still believe that justice is not an arbitrary concept on paper. Justice still lives and permeates the societies that we're in, just that not to the level that we would prefer. So access to justice is there, but it's not enough.
For sure.
Yes.
And I love that, because again, why making sense? There's the life part, but again, there's the reality.
Yes.
And reality is, I should say, it's so different from one person to the next. I believe even in one family with even twins, this one has the reality, this one has their own reality, as much as it's shared. And as much as we grew up in the same home for 10, 20, 30 years, still this person has their reality because of how they interpret stuff, their personality, all that. So even with this one, that is very unique. And can you imagine, even in the same space where you're seeing all this, with the next person who's maybe a lawyer, a paralegal, even just from the same office, I'm just imagining just how many interpretations are when looking at the same situation. Because even like partnering with the UNDP, there's still that perspective of coming to the team also to help.
True.
Give a different perspective. And by the time you're leaving and you've gone through all that, it's been a well-cooked stew of different perspectives. And even if there was now the chance of solving these problems and surveying the gap, and trying to find out actually how big the gap is for it to even to be, tunahitaji kokoto, tunahitaji simiti this much to be able to fill it, is, and I appreciate all the other perspectives. And now that is what comes, and we're able to present for the podcast platform and come and say, this is why we need to understand other perspectives for our own perspective to be widened and to be able to be considerate of other things.
You know what's crazy? To achieve any sort of results without that mixed perspective is almost impossible, because you do work, and especially in a line of work like mine, I'm in marketing. I'm looking at growing a business. There are some things that I think you need to hear, that way you can make a purchase decision, and then I realize what you actually need to hear is not what I think. You think you need to to talk to someone, you think you need outbound, you think you need social, you think you need AI, and then you realize you actually need to sit down and listen. Don't do anything, just listen. Because whatever you thought I needed is actually not it. In my professional space, I am learning to actually listen more than anything else.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a big takeaway. Can you imagine for the next 1 week, for somebody else to listen and to heed to whatever you just said? Is just listen. I know you want to say, but just listen.
Exactly. I know.
And then you're like, I was, you see the goalkeeper and the ball. There sometimes is
a couple you
the ball. You're like, how did this person see that thing? Because again, definitely they are not in alignment, or whatever you're speaking about and whatever the other person needed to do whatever they needed. So
it's wide apart. It's wide apart.
North Pole, South Pole.
It's a downside of I think us as professionals, especially within our areas of specialization. So for example, I consider myself an expert in marketing or communications, and you consider yourself an expert in your career.
Design.
It's easy to fall into that trap of, listen, cheki, hapa tukibonga marketing, ni mimi kuongea si wewe. And bro, that you can never be right with that perspective.
For sure.
Never.
At times I feel like an expert, and I'll take it because there's a part of experience where you come and realize everybody, yes, tunasema you're going this way, but for this one you just look like this and you've seen a stone and you're like, if you continue that way you'll hit this stone, but you're the only one who's seen it. But so yes, as a team you have the engineer, you have all heavy experts with 50 years experience and all, but again your 2-year experience is just like, hey guys, if we don't do this, it won't happen, and it doesn't happen. So there's a big balance to life of when to agree, yo, it's collective, and when to agree, like, yo, I have to take lead in this, and man, guys, you have to listen because it's about to go down.
And that sometimes we lose that balance because let me tell you the downside of expertise. Expertise grows your depth, but expertise also tunnels your vision. For example, if an automotive engineer looks at a car, they know that there's a minimum threshold of equipment, safety, and that should work before the car moves. Look at Nairobi matatus and give me one that adheres to that.
Okay.
So because you know that you need A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you're like, if you don't tick this list, you can't take off. Someone else is like, miguu inasonga, skani iko sawa, brake inafanya, mafuta ina ninio. Hizo vitu zingine indicator nitatumia mkono, and they move. But you as an expert, because you're knowledgeable, you're also tunnel vision. And it's as of everything. If I was executing this podcast, I might have not executed with what you have. But you're like, what? This is enough. I will have a video and I will have audio and my people will hear and will move on.
Yeah.
So you will go faster than myself.
Okay.
And I am the expert.
Hey, yeah, man, you've hit that one hard.
It's crazy, and experts will take long to execute because their bias towards action is low, because they will overthink and they will overcomplicate. Non-experts don't. That is why you need to listen.
There's this guy, there's this African guy who speaks a lot of Pan-Africanism, and he was talking about how democracies will never help us get forward. And so there's a deal. So he said, like, Trump, he mentioned Trump is a dictator, the Korea guy is a dictator,
the Russian guy is a dictator.
Yes, and you've seen how much progress they've done, because again, we don't need all the democracy.
We don't need consensus for everything.
Exactly, because he gave the perfect illustration of a toilet. If a toilet was broken in the Parliament building, they have to report that. It has to be written down. That has to go for a meeting, a sit down for now the guys to come and say, we have a problem with the toilet. It needs to be fixed. They need to get, so the next step is, can you get 3-4 quotations to have the toilet fixed?
And then set up a committee to review the quotations and look at the lowest bidder, and then another committee to look at the technical requirements.
No, you see, it's expertise. We're going with so much expertise of solving the toilet not working. Yet in a dictatorial system, it will have been, send whoever to come and fix this toilet because it's just faster. So given that, with the new match that I have, the caps, the sweatshirts, the hoodies, they are going with a color gray, because I've come to see life is not black and white. It's a whole mix. It's gray.
I see what you did there.
Yes, sir. And we need the expertise side. We also need the moving. We need both the practical guys, of, we just need the fuel is going in, the motor inafika kwa engine, now the electrical is working, now the indicator is working, or even headlight. You're like, yo, you're gonna have this flash beam to do this, and the car moves out of whatever problem they had because they just needed to move. Car versus V, now the next part of, man, if you don't have this and this and this and this and this car cannot be on the road, and that car is just there for the next 1 year. Or even just for the next many hours, yet the other guys, practical guys, already out of the bush that they were in a way further place compared to where you are. So
Balance.
just highlighting all these parts, and like, your life is so dynamic. I usually say you cannot even plan for the next day, because usually, like, yeah, I'm going to the office to do my whatever work I am doing, and then that's the only setup you usually have. Past that, everything else just flows, and it becomes a day. At the end of the day, you're looking at it, you're like, I could have not guessed my day. I could have not written down my day the way it was. I knew I would have been here, here, here. But you feel all the details of in between there. There's so much. You get to a place. I'm like, for the self, for you to make sense of life and reality, is to understand all these things keep moving. You still need to get your silver lining. There's shit. There's obstacles. There's challenges, and this other lady who says systems have never worked. You're the one who needs to work. You're the one who has to make it work, because if you talk about systems, they never work. So it's about, I really want to showcase and highlight that part of, you need to be an expert, but again, you need the depth, but also you need
the width. And I think that's where balance comes in, because on one hand, for example, back to the bathroom problem, a broken toilet.
Yeah.
Yes, if it's one, it's easy to say, and go to downtown, get this from here, come fix, and it's fixed within 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
But then if you're talking about all the toilets within the country, then now you need a system. So it's a balance between how well can we execute within a system, and how can we make sure that the system we're using to execute does not override the very objective that we're trying to achieve.
Amazing. How, even with the statement of systems have never worked, but I'm like, with the advancements that you're making as human beings, as personal people, as in the last 2 years, you could have not had the capacity to lift or to do whatever you're doing. You didn't have the mental capacity that you have right now, of all the other additional information that you've gotten to acquire. Is, I want for us to make systems that work, for us to be able to consider, to have all these considerations that we're having, and make that silver system that you just like, I know it's not worked before, I know, but now this, because you're still learning. It's not like we know everything.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you're just second guessing, and then you're just guessing through our way through, or just and then you find yourself, you're like, thank God you are here, because again, you do not even know which direction you are going. You just knew you needed to move. So with that, how do you think we can come up with systems that work?
Systems need proof of concept. The first person might not have had the structures that the last person will. So for example, if you're trying to figure out how to get to town and we don't know, you might walk out of here independently and go in 2-3 hours, we may figure out. Now, we moved from no knowledge to some knowledge. So we have effectiveness. We can now move people from Westlands to town. Then now we're thinking, okay, so tulipita hapa hivi, from here you went to Waiyaki Way and then went straight. What if we do a hypotenuse? You cut through from here, Muthidi or Jijo. This works too, but this is now faster. Then we're building iterations, and then we're building efficiencies and that kind of thing. So systems should be built on something that already works. Let's move away from arbitrary situations. Let's come back to a world I'm more familiar with, running. If there's some creators who believe that right now, if you want to be a runner, you need certain shoe. You probably need a health watch, and then sports socks that don't have that sleep, and then maybe a certain sound that allows you to hear, that's connected to your watch. But then if you look at all that, it makes running feel like it's either too expensive to start or almost impossible.
For sure.
Because between a good running shoe and a good running watch and just those two, or maybe if you add sound, we're already hitting 30, 40 G's to run. It doesn't make sense.
That's true.
It doesn't make sense. However, you could get a normal sports shoe and a timer and run. And then if you're adding frequency or you're adding your load or you're going professional, you start investing and you're building on something that already works.
Okay.
If we build the system on that assumption that you need X, Y, Z, it becomes impossible to implement. However, if you build system on the fact that this works and we're improving on it, then things are a bit different.
We do this. We just need microphones and the camera for now. That's where we start. We'll get lights. We'll get other
Maybe
stuff.
we need a phone with an audio recorder to start, and then from there we can. Otherwise, bro, when will we implement?
For sure. And when will you ever prove your concept?
Exactly. Or maybe you will, but then you realize that you need to abandon that concept after you've incurred heavy costs. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, and you've already incurred heavy costs.
You've bought 3 cameras because you had 3 angles. You bought lights. You bought mic stands. And then you're like, you know what? Maybe podcasting is not for me.
Oh.
It's such an expensive way to find out.
For sure.
And it shouldn't be like that.
For sure. Oh. Yeah. So building systems upon the systems that we have. Doing away with the bad, taking up the good, improving it,
Yes.
having it go through like cheese. I've tried to make cheese in the house. I realized you have to have cheese. You have to have that milk thing for months, and I was like, I gave up. I was like, yeah, this is real.
I respect you for trying that in the house. I would not do that.
1 month, 2 months, yeah, you're like, hey, this thing is, yeah, it's
Literally,
getting
Yokichi
me, but
Nafakuka a couple of months in the house.
yeah, like 3, 4, 5. That's why cheese is that expensive. By the time you're getting cheese is 6 months old, and that's when it's now cheese. You're like, okay, that's different. That's so the time factor of things and the build up is something so real. I hope we get to that on personal levels, institution levels, government levels, just at high levels, because as you said, making one law is easy. One toilet is easy. If you're talking about toilets in one county, you just go
With the
it's
scale
same
comes
country,
complexity.
but now you're just like, even without complexity, now we have a government that cannot solve doesn't have the capacity because of just that thought line the whole way. Yes, tutajenga mabarabara, we will do this, but again, we need the capacity of just being able to hold the people that we have. It is so much that you're like, if you don't try and match that up, you're going down faster. So with making sense of life and reality, I really hope for people get to that level, past personal. And I love how the civic education that's going through around everywhere, and just people being more aware about their lives and what goes through their lives, and making sense of life and reality.
Absolutely.
To better. You're not just doing it, you're doing it to be better.
It's a learning curve, and as a country, we're very young.
Nice
As
to
a
see
country,
like that.
look, as individuals, we're old, but as a country, we're under 70, and we're looking at other jurisdictions that are 300, 600, 7 years old. Yeah, you're looking at countries that are, well, 700, 600 might be a stretch, but you're looking at people who got their independence in 1900 something, countries that were started in 17. You see they've had longer times to learn. And I'm saying this to give us a bit of grace in terms of developing our systems. However, there's still younger countries that are doing comparatively better than us, but then you see that's an issue of the value system of the populace and the value system of the leaders. I'm not proud of the values that we hold as people and as leaders in Kenya. I'm sorry. We can do way better.
That's why we're making sense of life and reality.
Absolutely.
For people even just know this better. For you to have a better physique, oh man, you have to do the morning wake ups to go to the gym. It's painful. You have to eat. You have to rest. Me, for actually just the rest part of it, because again, your body's tired. For real.
Yes, and you need to repair.
I think that would be really. Can you imagine a day in the office with you without the sleeping part? You do an all night. You do past hours. Do the gym because again, you still have to do the gym.
I can, and funny, the past couple of weeks, past weeks have been busy. So there's a time I was operating with 5-6 hours of sleep. Oh, and it shows.
Oh,
As you get to a point where your body's like, listen, one either you shut down, go rest, or I will shut you down. And inafika to point, na apply leave ya kwenda kulala. Don't have an emergency. There's nothing I need to address. I just need to rest. I need my recovery to catch up with my schedule. And opumzike, literally.
bless that. No, because again, your life is the gift. This is the only body that you have to be able to experience this gift, and with that, that's a big thing. I actually say, you know that time when you feel your body is, and you're like, hey, and your body is telling you, we are out. It's about shut down.
Yes.
You better
We're
get
going down.
home
We're going
in 20 minutes or in 10 minutes down of. I will, when you talk to somebody and like, let me call this person and call you back, and then
Ndio hivyo, kesho. And that it's interesting because I think there's a time where the body was considered. There's always this argument between, especially fitness and non-fitness people, where people shun the amount of work people put on their bodies because it's like, hey, checky, when you gym, bro, slightly when you dwanzi. Like you spent a lot of time building your body, you might not have spent enough time to develop your mind and things like that. There's those stereotypes, just like fitness people look at non-fitness people. It's like, hey, I mean, you're good at books, but then your body has very very little to show. And from where I sit, it's always a balance between your mind is important, but your mind is housed in the body.
yes, sir.
Your body is important,
sir.
but your body is controlled by the mind. So how much time can you put in growing your creative side, growing your logical side, and that, and also making sure you put enough time in the vessel that you carry all that, your dreams and your visions and the love that you hold does not exist without your body.
For sure.
And it's an intricate balance.
I actually look at being fit at the part of just having the ability to do whatever you need to do without struggling to do whatever you need to do.
Physically, yes.
There's a day, this is 10th floor, there's a day there were no lights. I had to come up. And then you realize whatever you needed is still down, so you have to go down. And then you come back up again.
It's a proper hike.
Oh, can you imagine not having the ability to do that? Or even just your heart gives out in midway. So stairs, nobody finds you because you're in the stairs.
Umekwamia hapo.
Umekwamia
It gets
hapo.
worse. I mean, stairs is daunting. I think I have seen people, and myself included, I've had lower back issues. And at the worst, kukaa namna hii for 30 minutes brings you pain. Forget stairs, just being in this position for 30 minutes, an hour, your back is like, bro, what's up?
Wow, and how did you get to do to fix that? At least, what do you feel your physical activity?
Went to physio and realized that physio is making me exercise.
Yeah,
Because my back was hurt. I'm not old enough to have back issues. I am grateful that I haven't had any sort of accident in any way that has ruined my back.
for sure.
But then again, the muscles around it were weak.
Yeah,
Akuta physio anakwambia cheki ni aje huku nyuma mguu itabidi umetrain your glutes harder, literally, because your back is held like this. So if there's weakness here, there's going to be tension here, and it's gonna be pain.
But there, even with that, when you said you went for you even to start your fitness journey, and now even now going for physio, and then you're told, hey, your lower back, just to solve your lower back, you need to do this because this. Don't you feel? Don't you actually always get to a place of deep appreciation of people who understand what the problem is, and they tell you just like, yo, you see, you have high metabolism. If you just eat, nothing much will change. But if you actually add more muscle to it, you'll have a better, a way different reality, which is actually better.
I came to appreciate people who know their stuff. And more importantly, I think with my physio, I came to appreciate how much he was invested in just that general well being. He wanted to, because we sat down, did a consult, akaniuliza vitu nafanyaga, where do you work? I work here. How, describe to me the chair that you sit on in the house. Okay, describe the one that you have in the office. How much time do you spend on a desk? And by the time he's proposing an intervention, you can tell that he took the time to understand my reality. He made sense of it, and then that's when we proceeded with an intervention. And I was up and going like a month because I was like, okay, listen, you're good now, but you need maintenance, which means in your fitness regime combine A, B, C, D. Sahi nikimpigia simu ni kumgotea. I don't need that continuous monitoring anymore.
Man, bless all the people who make life just better.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because he's a very young person. He's my senior, of course, but early 30s. And to meet someone with that level of expertise and that level of knowledge in their early 30s is a blessing.
Making sense of muscles.
Yes.
And just like, yo, this is just not right. And bless up. I also wanted to shout out to Willie Wam, who also got to make me make sense of physiotherapy and just
Really is a physio, by the way.
Yes. We were to, as I was inviting him for the podcast, we were to talk about beatboxing because we met in the creative scene of beatboxing, and that is what he was talking about. And then later on, he talking about physio, and I'm like, okay. You see, and that's me making sense of life and reality in the part of, with this gift of life, there's so many things we can do. The ability that we have in this life to solve, to grasp, to understand, to execute. I usually look at the road, even when it's coming here, I look at like all these cars, we're trusting each other, we get to the next person is okay just for you. Can you imagine a road where everybody just, that is crazy. And for us to just come and we are all trusting each other, and we go and you get to wherever you're going, you're like, we have a lot of great ability in us, and that's what we want to push for. Like, oh atunafanyanga so unafanyanga tu kitu moja. I'm like, why unafanya, how you doing this other thing? And at the end of it all, I'm like, nah, tell me all the 10 things that you do for me to be just amazed, because again, I know we have the capacity to do that.
We do, and we do not exist as individuals on a single path.
For sure.
We have multiple interests. We have point of views that conflict themselves. We have beliefs that we don't practice, and some we practice but we can't vocalize. We're multiple things in one, and the beauty of it is just embracing all those things. And I think that's the thing I love with Willie Wam. Funny, he set his personal record, Jana, because I was running with him yesterday.
Awesome.
Yes. Set his record for 5K. Man is doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I love about life. When you talk about something that even you're not thinking about, you're not set to even talk about it, and then you say it, and then you actually have a recent update about it. You're just like, yeah, just yesterday I was with him, and
absolutely.
he actually broke his record. You're like, it's not just I just saw him say we're gonna this is actually a
tulikuwa
marker.
naye tukaanza kukimbia, and then tukachana, tukakutana mwisho. I was like, oh yeah, you broke my record. Congratulations, man.
Bam. Hey, shout out to Willow. I'm still seeing you doing the
Good man.
ting, man. The fitness, hey, man. He's dedicated, and with actually talks like this and making sense of stuff is as you're on your own journey and you're going through your own challenges, and having had another person who's made sense of it, and you're coming back to be like, that's the leaf that I need to use here, and with that leaf, this is the leaf that has gotten me through whatever you're doing. So hey, big up everybody who gets to listen, who gets to be my guest here. And you know what, life is a gift. I as you're doing your life, you know,
Yeah.
you are in the communications, which means you're the bridge between the institution and the public. We live in an era of alternative, fox, and noisy digital landscapes. How do you use communication to ground people in reality when everything feels so polarized?
Oof. That's an interesting one because in my former life before this job, I was actually a journalist.
Awesome.
And one of the things that I got to expose myself and to receive a bit of training is actually misinformation and disinformation. Where misinformation is actually inaccurate information, but it's unintended. There's no malintent. It's those things that your folks forward to you. Hey, ndimu inatibu COVID-19. They weren't trying to harm you, but it's not true.
Okay.
And then there's now disinformation where I know that this information is accurate and I have malintent and I am aware of the fact that I am misleading you. You see,
misinformation, disinformation.
Yes. I think in a world where we live with a lot of alternative truths, there has to be that goodwill as a North Star, in that I am sharing this information intending well, or I mean well with sharing this information.
Yeah.
2, honesty. And it's very hard. This is me speaking as an individual, but in my observance, sometimes the truth is not always easy to say. Sometimes the truth is very expensive. Sometimes the truth could even hurt you as an individual or as an organization.
Oh yeah.
But still, it kind of has to be out there. So find ways of saying it, but make sure it's said and it's the truth.
Yeah. Hey, and the part of biting yourself later on, when you look at the news, and at times when you look at politicians saying something and then something is brought up years before, yeah, you're like same person.
you know, it's one of those things that aches you, because you'd rather check whatever fall that comes with being honest and being direct, but you'll take it once. After that, it's very clear that this is what happened, and Michael alisema hivi, and it was uncomfortable. Michael bore the cost, and then we moved. Tuki 5 years later, when we look back, it's the same version of reality.
Ouch. Yes, because actually there's this other part where I usually say, for friends, when this friend of yours, the version you are to this friend of yours and the version you are to this friend of yours, if those people talked about you, will they think it's the same person, or will it be?
Will they have conflicting narratives of you?
Yeah, will it be like two different people they are talking about two different other people?
True.
So you're like, the truth is something trippy, because again, you know the thing of the E, when I have an E like this, and then for this person will be an M, for me will be an E, for this person will be a W, for this person will be a 3.
Yes.
And we're all looking at the same thing at the same time. So you just come up here like, hey.
That difference in perception is giving us different results.
Exactly.
But you see, from like a source point of view, the idea is to present things as is. Of course, there's going to be multiple perceptions and multiple interpretations, but you do not do the work of interpreting, you present. Which means, in as much as it's an M, it's a W, it's a 3, if the person who's seeing an M moves to that side, anaona 3 kama huyu mwingine. Huyu akikuja hivi anaona that way. Nice. In as much as there's different perception, there's points where we can harmonize it. Where if you move here, we're now seeing the same thing. If you move here, we're all seeing the same thing.
Yeah, and let's agree, and we can all stand and agree, and you're like, yeah, from these different points, this is what you're seeing.
and it's
Now we can.
consistent for everyone.
Awesome. Interesting. Because even now with that, now we're at a better place to be able to make sense, to be able to create a solution to whatever problem. If it was a problem, if it was something that was didn't even have a problem, it can still now be made even just way better.
Yes, yes.
This is Making Sense of Life and Reality.